So I'm staring at Samuel's Civil War pension application. It's in his own handwriting. Beautiful 19th century cursive. If by beautiful you mean completely impossible to read. I'd spent 3 hours on just the first page. 3 hours. Squinting at loops that could be L's or I's. Guessing whether that word said occasionally or exercise or possibly every day. I honestly couldn't tell. My eyes were burning. My neck was sore. And I was maybe 60% confident in what I had transcribed. And then I remembered something I'd read about Gemini 3. 2 minutes later, I had a perfect transcription. Not good, not pretty good, perfect. Every word, every misspelling preserved, every weird abbreviation captured. The AI even explained its reasoning for tricky words. Today, we're diving deep into what might be the single biggest breakthrough in genealogy AI so far. I'm talking about Google's Gemini 3 and its ability to transcribe handwritten historical documents at expert human level. And here's the kicker, it's completely free. I'm going to show you exactly how to use it, how to get the best results, what it can and can't do, and why this changes everything about working with handwritten records. Whether you're dealing with wills, letters, pension files, or that family Bible with grandma's impossible handwriting, this episode is about to save you hundreds of hours. Let's get started. Welcome to Ancestors and Algorithms, where family history meets artificial intelligence. I'm your host, Brian, and today we're doing a comprehensive deep dive into Google's Gemini 3, specifically focusing on what it means for genealogists like us who deal with handwritten documents every single day. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Another AI tool episode? Don't we have enough already? And yes, we've covered ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity. We've talked about all the major players. But here's why Gemini 3 deserves its own episode and why I'm calling this a revolution rather than just an evolution. In November 2025, researchers testing Gemini 3 discovered something remarkable. They ran historical handwritten documents through the model, 18th and 19th century letters, legal documents, meeting minutes, the kinds of things we work with all the time. And Gemini 3 achieved what's called a character error rate of just 1.67%. Now, if you're not a tech person, let me explain what that means. Character error rate, or CER, measures how many individual letters the AI gets wrong. At 1.67%, that means for every 200 characters, letters, spaces, punctuation, Gemini makes fewer than 2 mistakes. That's expert human transcriptionist level. That's better than most of us can do when we're tired of dealing with difficult handwriting. For comparison, ChatGPT sits at about 17% error rate on the same documents. Claude, which I love and use constantly, is at about 4%. But Gemini 3, 1.67%. It's not even close. And it's free. Completely, totally free through Google AI Studio. So today's episode is structured a little differently than our usual format. We're going to spend serious time with this tool because it's that important. I'm going to show you how to access Google AI Studio and why it's better than the regular Gemini app for this work, the exact prompts that get you the best transcriptions, multiple real world scenarios with different document types, advanced techniques for dealing with damaged or unclear documents, common mistakes to avoid, how to verify and integrate these transcriptions into your workflow. And yes, we're going to talk about our golden rule because AI is your research assistant, not your researcher. Even with near perfect transcriptions, verification still matters. We'll get into why. This is going to be practical, hands on, and by the end, you'll be ready to tackle that stack of impossible to read documents you've been avoiding. Sound good? Let's dive in. Okay, let me tell you the full story of what happened with that pension application. Because this is where I really understood how game changing Gemini 3 is. Samuel served in the Civil War. He survived, came home to Pennsylvania, and decades later applied for a veteran's pension. These pension files are absolute gold for genealogists. They're like mini biographies. They include personal statements from the veteran, witness testimonies, family details, medical information, all kinds of stuff. But here's the problem: they're handwritten by the veteran himself, who might be elderly, might have shaky hands, might have limited education, by witnesses who were farmers or laborers, not professional scribes, by clerks who were writing dozens of these a day in whatever rush handwriting they could manage. Samuel's file was 43 pages. 43 pages of dense handwriting in that tight, cramped cursive style from the 1880s. I'd been putting it off for months because I knew it was going to be brutal. When I finally sat down to tackle it, I started with my usual method. Zoom in on the digital image, work line by line, type it into a document, use brackets for unclear words, question marks for illegible ones. After 3 hours, I had the first page done. Maybe. I went back through it and found at least 6 words where I'd probably guessed wrong. 3 hours, 1 page, I had 42 to go. I was ready to give up. Maybe I could just work with the clear parts. Maybe I could find a transcription service. But those can cost $1 a page or more. And I had other ancestors with pension files, land deeds, wills. I couldn't pay someone to transcribe everything. That's when I remembered reading about Gemini 3's handwriting recognition. The article I'd seen was from a history professor who tested it on 18th and 19th century documents. He'd use words like revolutionary and game-changing. I was skeptical. I'd tried AI transcriptions before. ChatGPT had given me creative interpretations that were, well, creative. Claude had done better, but still missed a lot. Neither was accurate enough to trust without heavy editing. But I figured, what did I have to lose? 2 minutes of my time? I went to Google AI Studio, which I'll show you how to access in a few minutes, and I uploaded just that first page that had taken me 3 hours. I used a simple prompt that I'll give you exactly later in this episode, and I waited. 15 seconds later, I had a complete transcription. I started reading it alongside the original image. Word for word, it was perfect. The weird abbreviation I'd spent 10 minutes puzzling over, Gemini got it instantly. The signature at the bottom that looked like random squiggles, transcribed correctly with a note about it being a signature. Even the marginal notes in the clerk's different handwriting, captured. I checked every single word against the original. Out of about 300 words on that page, Gemini made exactly 0 mistakes. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so you got lucky with one easy page. That's what I thought too. So I uploaded the worst page in the file. The one where Samuel's hand was clearly shaking, the ink was faded, and someone had written additional notes sideways in the margin. Gemini nailed it again. I uploaded all 43 pages. In about 20 minutes total, I had complete, accurate transcriptions of the entire pension file. Work that would have taken me probably 80 to 100 hours if I'd done it manually. That was my holy crap moment. That was when I realized this wasn't just a handy tool. This was a fundamental shift in what's possible for genealogists working with historical documents. But let me step back for a second and explain what makes Gemini 3 special, because there's some important context here. Google's AI models have actually been pretty good at handwriting for a while now. But Gemini 3, which was released just in December 2025, represents what researchers are calling a breakthrough rather than just an improvement. The difference comes down to a few key things. First, multimodal understanding. Gemini 3 doesn't just try to recognize individual letters, it understands the document as a whole. It recognizes that it's looking at a legal document from the 1880s, and it uses that context to make better guesses about unclear words. If a word could be exercised or occasionally based on the letter shapes, it looks at the surrounding sentences and picks the one that makes sense. Second, it shows its reasoning. When you use Gemini 3 and Google AI Studio, you can actually see it think through difficult transcription decisions. It'll say something like, I initially considered exercise, but the context suggests occasionally is more likely based on the flow of the sentence. This transparency is huge for genealogy because it lets us evaluate how confident we should be in the transcription. Third, and this is critical, consistency. When AI researchers tested Gemini 3 with the temperature set to 0, which we'll talk about how to do, it transcribed the same document almost identically every single time. That means if you run a document through twice to check, you'll get the same result. That's very different from earlier AI tools that might give you different transcriptions each time. All right, first things first. If you've used Google's Gemini before, you've probably used the Gemini app, either on your phone or at gemini.google.com. That's Google's consumer facing AI chatbot similar to ChatGPT. But for handwriting transcription, we're not using the Gemini app. We're using something called Google AI Studio. Here's why this matters. Google AI Studio is designed for developers and people who want to test different AI models. It gives you much more control over which specific version of Gemini you're using, what settings you're applying, and how the AI processes your request. For handwriting transcription, this control is crucial. The regular Gemini app is great for quick questions and conversations, but AI Studio is where you go when you need precision and repeatability, exactly what we need for genealogy. And I cannot stress this enough. AI Studio is completely free. You don't need a Google Workspace subscription. You don't need to enter a credit card. You don't even need to be a developer. You just need a free Google account. Let me walk you through exactly how to get in there. Step 1, open your web browser. I use Chrome because it's Google's browser and everything tends to work smoothly, but Safari, Edge, Firefox, any modern browser will work. Step 2, navigate to aistudio.google.com. That's aistudio.google.com. Step 3, sign in with your Google account. If you have a Gmail address, you're good to go. If you don't have a Google account, you'll need to create one. It's free and takes about 2 minutes. Step 4, you'll see the AI Studio interface. If this is your first time, it might ask for some basic permissions. Just click through those. You're giving Google permission to let you use their AI models, which is what we want. Now you're in. You should see a screen with a bunch of options and big text box. This is your playground. Let me orient you to what you're seeing on the screen because there's a lot happening on this screen. On the left-hand side, you'll see Google AI Studio. Below that is Home, Playground, Build, Dashboard, Documentation. With Playground selected, in the middle of the screen now you'll see Google AI Studio. Below that is Featured, Gemini, Live, Images, Video, and Audio. With Featured selected, I see 3 different options: Gemini 3 Pro Preview, Nano Banana Pro, Gemini 3 Flash Preview. I do have the Pro plan, so that's why I see the Nano Banana Pro option. These are your model selectors. For handwriting transcription, you want to select Gemini 3 Pro. not Gemini 2.5 and not Gemini Flash if it's for Gemini 3. Gemini 3 Pro is the one with the breakthrough handwriting capabilities. As of December 2025, you have free access to Gemini 3 Flash and limited access to Gemini 3 Pro. The limits are generous for genealogy use. We're talking dozens of documents per day before you hit any restrictions. For most of us, the free tier is more than enough. If you find yourself bumping up against limits because you're transcribing hundreds of documents, well, first of all, congratulations on your productivity. And second, there are paid options, but let's cross that bridge if we come to it. Start with the free tier. Okay, let's actually do a transcription so you can see how this works. First, you need a digital image of your handwritten document. This could be a photograph you took with your phone of a document in your possession, a scan from a library or archive, a screenshot from a genealogy website like Ancestry or Family Search. The image can be JPEG, PNG, or even PDF. Gemini handles all of them. In the AI Studio interface, look for the attachment icon. It's usually a paper with a plus symbol near where you type your prompt. Click that, and you can either drag or drop your image or browse to select it from your computer. Upload your document image. It'll appear in the chat as a thumbnail. Now, here's where the magic happens: the prompt. Let me give you the exact prompt I use for most handwriting transcriptions. This is copy-paste ready, so grab a pen or come to our Facebook group, Ancestors and Algorithms AI for Genealogy, where you can screenshot it. Here it is. Quote, please transcribe this handwritten document exactly as written, preserving original spelling, punctuation, and line breaks. Use brackets for unclear words and question mark for illegible words. This is a type of document from approximate date location, end quote. Let me break down why each part matters. Exactly as written, preserving original spelling. This tells Gemini not to fix errors in the original. If the document says there, we want there, not there. Preserving punctuation and line breaks. This maintains the original document structure, which can be important for understanding context. Use brackets for unclear words and question mark for illegible. This gives Gemini a way to flag uncertainty so you know what to double check. This is a type of document from date location. This provides context that helps Gemini make better guesses about ambiguous words. So a real example might be, quote, please transcribe this handwritten document exactly as written, preserving original spelling, punctuation, and line breaks. Use brackets for unclear words and question mark for illegible words. This is a Civil War pension application from Pennsylvania, 1885, end quote. Or, quote, please transcribe this handwritten document exactly as written, preserving original spelling, punctuation, and line breaks. Use brackets for unclear words and question mark for illegible words. This is a personal letter from England, approximately 1820s, end quote. Now, for really difficult documents or when you need more detailed analysis, here's an advanced prompt. Quote, analyze this handwritten document character by character and transcribe it exactly as written. For each unclear word, show me your reasoning process for how you determine the transcription. Preserve all original spelling, grammar, capitalization, and punctuation. Mark any uncertain transcriptions with brackets and indicate your confidence level. Include any marginalia, insertions, or crossouts with notes about their location. This is a document type from location and date range, end quote. This longer prompt activates Gemini's thinking mode more explicitly. You'll get not just a transcription, but an explanation of how it handled difficult situations and sections. I use this when the handwriting is particularly challenging. I'm working with a legally important document where every word counts. I want to learn more about 19th century handwriting styles. The document has damage, stains, or other issues affecting legibility. I do have several other specialized prompts I use for different kinds of genealogical documents. I will be uploading these prompts in our Facebook group, Ancestors and Algorithms AI for Genealogy. So come on over and join the group for free to see these prompts. Now, let me tell you what not to do because these are mistakes I've seen people make. Don't say, transcribe this document. Why? It's too vague. Gemini might summarize instead of transcribing or might fix spelling errors. Don't say, tell me what this document says. Why? You'll get a summary or interpretation, not a transcription. Don't say, transcribe this perfectly. Why? Setting impossible expectations. Even Gemini can't be perfect with truly legible text. Don't forget context about document type and date. This helps Gemini understand historical writing conventions. All right, we've covered the basics and walked through common scenarios. Now, let me share some advanced techniques that'll take your transcription work to the next level. Technique 1, the two-pass method for critical documents. For documents that really matter, wills, leaving property, baptismal records, establishing relationships, anything you're citing as primary evidence, I use a two-pass method. Pass 1, upload the document to Gemini with the standard transcription prompt, save this transcription. Pass 2, without looking at the first transcription, upload the same document again in a new chat so Gemini has no memory of the first pass with the same prompt. Save this second transcription. Then compare the two transcriptions. Any differences between them indicate spots where Gemini was uncertain or where the handwriting is genuinely ambiguous. Those are your verification priorities. If both transcriptions match perfectly, you can have high confidence. If they differ, you know where to look closely at the original. Technique 2, the progressive zoom approach. Sometimes a full page is too much information for optimal transcription. The text is small, there's a lot going on, and Gemini tries to process everything at once. Here's what I do. Number 1, upload and transcribe the full page to get the overall structure and context. Number 2, identify any sections Gemini marked as uncertain with brackets. 3, crop just those sections at higher magnification. Number 4, upload the cropped sections separately with focused prompts. For example, quote, please transcribe just this signature line, focusing on careful letter by letter analysis. This is a signature from an 1880s legal document, end quote. The focused approach often yields better results on difficult sections. Technique 3, historical context loading. This is advanced but powerful. Before transcribing a document, you can give Gemini historical context that helps it make better decisions about ambiguous words. Here's an example. Let's say I'm transcribing a letter from 1863 mentioning Civil War battles. Before uploading the letter, I might send Gemini a message like, quote, I'm about to upload a Civil War letter from 1863. The writer was a Union soldier in the Army of the Potomac, likely present at Gettysburg. Common topics in such letters include battle experiences, camp conditions, requests for supplies from home, and news about fellow soldiers. Please keep this context in mind when I upload the letter for transcription, end quote. Then I upload the letter with the transcription prompt. What this does, when Gemini encounters an unclear word, it can use this context to make better inferences. If a word looks like it could be Gettysburg or Petersburg, the context tells it Gettysburg is more likely for 1863. Technique 4, the comparison transcription. If you have multiple documents from the same person, several letters for instance, you can use them to improve accuracy on the hardest one. Process. Number 1, start with the clearest document. Get a transcription and note recurring words or phrases. Number 2, identify the person's handwriting quirks, how they form specific letters, what abbreviations they use. Number 3, when transcribing the harder documents, include this information in your prompt. Example, quote, this is another letter from the same person whose previous letter you transcribed. You may recall they write R with an extended tail and abbreviate received as RECD. Please transcribe this letter with those patterns in mind, end quote. If you're working in the same chat session, Gemini actually will remember some of these patterns. If not, you can explicitly state them. Technique 5, the confidence threshold. Here's a prompt modification for when you want Gemini to be extra conservative. Quote, please transcribe this document exactly as written. For any word where you have less than 95% confidence, use brackets and explain why you're uncertain. Be conservative. Err on the side of marking something uncertain rather than guessing. This is a document type from date location, end quote. This typically results in more words flagged as uncertain, but those brackets tell you exactly where to focus your verification efforts. Much more efficient than checking every word. Technique 6, working with multi-page documents. Gemini can handle multi-page documents, but there's a technique to it. For a 10-page pension file, don't upload all 10 pages at once, unless they're really all one continuous text. Instead, number 1, upload pages in logical groups, maybe 2 to 3 pages at a time. Number 2, use prompts that acknowledge the multi-page nature. Quote, this is page 2 of 10 from a pension file. Please transcribe exactly as written, ... end quote. Number 3, note page numbers in your saved transcriptions so you can reassemble them later. Why not all at once? Because Gemini performs better when it can focus. Also, if one page has an error, you only need to rerun that page, not the whole batch. And finally, technique number 7, the collaborative verification. This is my favorite advanced workflow, especially for important documents. Number 1, transcribe with Gemini. Number 2, share the transcription with a genealogy buddy or family member who's also researching this line. Number 3, have them independently check the transcription against the original image. Number 4, compare notes on any uncertainties. 2 sets of eyes on the verification process catches way more errors than 1. And because Gemini had already done the heavy lifting of the initial transcription, your verification buddy can focus on the quality check rather than the tedious typing. Let's talk about limitations, because no tool is perfect, and knowing where Gemini struggles helps you plan your workflow better. Limitation 1, printed text OCR. Weirdly, Gemini 3 is optimized for handwriting, not printed text. For old printed books, newspapers, or typewritten documents, traditional OCR tools still work better. If you're working with printed historical documents, use Google's Drive's built-in OCR, upload a PDF, right-click, open with Google Docs, Adobe Acrobat's OCR, Ancestry or Family Search's built-in OCR on their document images. Save Gemini for the handwritten stuff. Limitation 2, extremely low resolution images. If your image is blurry or low resolution, Gemini will struggle just like you would. Garbage in, garbage out. Best practices. Use the highest resolution available. If photographing a document yourself, use good lighting and hold steady. Don't zoom in on a low-res image and expect Gemini to magically read it. Get the original high-res file if possible. Limitation 3, heavily artistic or decorative text. Fancy calligraphy, illuminated manuscripts, super ornate Victorian certificates. These can confuse Gemini because the letter forms are so stylized they're almost not letters anymore. For truly artistic text, you might need a human expert in that type of script. Limitation 4, mathematical or scientific notation. If your ancestor was a mathematician or surveyor and you're trying to transcribe their notes with equations, symbols, or technical diagrams, Gemini will struggle. It's built for words, not formulas. Limitation 5, real-time interaction. Gemini transcribes uploaded images. If you're at an archive with physical documents and you want to know on the spot if a document is worth ordering a copy, you'd need to photograph it, upload it, and wait for transcription. Not the end of the world, but it's not instant. Let's talk about privacy and sensitivity. Some documents you'll transcribe contain sensitive information, medical details, causes of death, family conflicts, financial problems. When sharing transcriptions, be thoughtful about what you're exposing. For living people, anyone born within the last 110 years, be extra cautious. Some genealogy platforms have rules about sharing information on living individuals. Transcribing documents is fine for your research, but posting them publicly might violate privacy rules or family expectations. The original handwritten documents are almost always out of copyright by now. We're talking 19th century content. But the digital images of those documents might have copyright held by archives, libraries, or genealogy companies. Generally, transcribing for personal research is fine. Posting full transcriptions publicly is probably fine too under fair use. But if you're concerned, check the terms of service for wherever you got the image. Gemini's transcription itself doesn't create new copyright, it's just text. In my genealogical proof arguments and research reports, I'm transparent about using AI. Quote, transcription of the 1885 pension application was assisted by Google's Gemini 3 AI, December 2025, and verified against the original document images held by the National Archives NARA citation information, end quote. This is honest about my methods and gives credit where it's due. Future researchers reading my work will know how the transcription was created. Let me come back to our golden rule one more time. AI is your research assistant, not your researcher. What this means in the context of transcription, Gemini helps you read documents faster and more accurately. You still decide which documents matter. You still verify facts that support your proof arguments. You still make the genealogical connections and write the narrative. Gemini hasn't replaced genealogical judgment. It's made the mechanical parts of research, the typing, the squinting, the deciphering, way faster and more accurate. That frees you up to spend more time on the intellectual work, evaluating evidence, solving mysteries, writing compelling family histories. That's the ideal use of AI in genealogy. It handles the routine tasks so you can focus on the detective work. All right, we've covered a lot today. Let's recap the key takeaways. Number 1, Gemini 3 Pro achieves expert level handwriting transcription at 1.67% character error rate, far better than previous AI tools. Number 2, access is free through Google AI Studio at aistudio.google.com. No credit card, no special subscription. Number 3, the right prompts matter. Tell Gemini to preserve original spelling, provide document context, and mark uncertain words. Number 4, verification is still essential. AI is your research assistant, not your researcher. Check important facts against the original. Number 5, different documents need different approaches. Pension files, letters, deeds, and Bible records each benefit from tailored prompts. Number 6, advanced techniques, like the two-pass method and progressive zoom, can improve accuracy on difficult documents. Here's your homework assignment, and I really want you to try this. Find one handwritten document you've been avoiding. You know the one, that pension file you downloaded 6 months ago, that letter from Great Aunt Martha, the will that's been sitting in your research folder because the handwriting is impossible. Go to Google AI Studio, upload it, use the basic prompt I gave you, and just see what happens. Then email me at ancestorsandsai@gmail.com and tell me what document you tried, how accurate the transcription was, What surprised you most? What you learned? I read every email, and I might feature some of your stories in a future episode. And then come share your results in our Facebook group, Ancestors and Algorithms AI for Genealogy, using the hashtag Gemini Breakthrough. I want to see your transcriptions. I want to hear about your success stories. Thank you so much for listening to Ancestors and Algorithms. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. It helps other family historians find us. Don't forget to join our Facebook group, Ancestors and Algorithms AI for Genealogy, where you can share your discoveries and connect with other researchers using AI. Use these tools to make the mechanical parts of genealogy faster and easier. That frees you up for the real work, the detective work, the storytelling, the connecting with your ancestors. I'm your host, Brian, and I'll see you next week for another journey into the past powered by the future. Until then, happy researching and happy transcribing.